Hello everyone, we are making a start. This is our Langsbox version 5, a new generation corpus analysis tool, a live webinar from Lancaster University. My name is Václav Brzezina and I'm joining you with a wonderful team of people who will be helping you throughout the webinar today. So very good morning. I should also say very good afternoon and very good evening to those of you who are joining us from different time zones, and we are really privileged that so many people decided to join us today for this special online event where we are going to talk about corpus linguistics, one corpus tool in particular, the Corpus tool, a flagship tool in Lancaster University, the Langsbox tool, and today we are releasing a brand new version 5 for you to try and see whether that will be useful for your own research. So we are starting the webinar right now. I would also like to give a shout out to the wonderful people from the Pontifical Catholic University of Sao Paulo, Tony Berber-Sanrinha and his team, who are also co-sponsoring this webinar and streaming it through their own channels and through their wonderful webinar series they've been running throughout the epidemic and before. So let's start, and I would like to invite you to our online space. This is our online space for Lancaster University, and we would like to invite you to take part in our wonderful webinar here. So Lancaster University, with a very long tradition of corpus research, and here's our brand new tool, Langsbox version 5, and we'll be talking about that during this webinar. Langsbox is a tool that started, and you'll hear about that, as a sort of fairly modest tool, and now it has grown to a fully fledged and innovative tool that can achieve a lot of interesting types of analyses in corpus research. It analyzes and visualizes language, and I'll be talking about this tool and introducing the tool to those of you who are new to Langsbox in a moment. So one of the things, and I'm sort of addressing you, our wonderful participants, is to make this webinar memorable, and obviously there are many different channels of communication. One of them is the social media, Twitter in particular. We are using the Langsbox hashtag and Langs S20, Lancaster Summer Schools 20, as our hashtags, so that we can all see the tweets that are coming from you. We can sort of collate them under those two hashtags. So if you have any thoughts, observations, please do share them on Twitter and other social media as well. Obviously, as part of this webinar, there's a Q&A panel where you can post your questions, your comments. You can say hello if you like. That would be wonderful if you could say hi to us, and I'll introduce our wonderful team in a moment. So there's a sort of Q&A session that is being monitored, and you'll get an answer in real time. So first of all, I would like to invite Professor Elena Semino, who's the director of the CAS Research Centre that sponsors this Lancaster Summer School, and also where the Langsbox tool has been created. So sending Elena live now. Over to you, Elena.
Thank you, Václav. Hello, everybody. My job really is very easy. I want to welcome everyone to this webinar, particularly those of you who got up early or are staying up late to join us. We know there are many hundreds of you. As Václav has said, Lancaster has a decade-long tradition in corpus linguistics, and since 2013, the Centre for Corpus Approaches to Social Science, which is funded by the UK government, has led innovation in both theory and methods, and Langsbox is one of our flagship tools. Today, in spite of the difficulties caused by the pandemic and little kids being at home, Václav and the team are able to launch version 5, and I am looking forward as much as you are to see how wonderful version 5 is. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much, Václav and the team. We look forward not just to you seeing you using the tool, but also having your feedback, which is the essential for us in order to be able to continue to innovate. So welcome, thank you, and have fun.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Elena, for your kind words. And I would like to now invite Tony McEnery, who's been with the Langsbox tool from the beginning, to say a few words to you, our wonderful participants joining us from around the world. So here's Professor Tony McEnery.
Hello everybody, I'd like to wish you a very warm welcome to this year's Lancaster Summer Schools, happening online, which is wonderful. A marvellous response from everybody to the current difficulties we find ourselves in. It hasn't stopped us working with you, and we're looking forward to doing that today, and also to finding out what you discover on your journey into Corpus. Today you'll be looking at the latest version of Langsbox. Now, Langsbox has always been a tool that strives for innovation, and today you're finding out something new about Langsbox. You're going to use the wizard feature of it. So if any of you are fans of Lord of the Rings or Sword and Sorcery, well, you can put those ideas of wizards to one side and instead look forward to some corpus-based technological wizardry instead. Now, Lancaster started the development of Langsbox in 2015. It was initially a simple tool to help us visualize collocation networks. Now, when we launched it, there was a modest event that allowed us to do that, and we launched the tool at the same time. But we kept on working on the tool and taking feedback on board from people who'd used it and elaborating it until it is the program that you will see and use today, which is considerably more sophisticated than a simple collocation network display tool. So I hope you enjoy using it, and after 5 years of development, I think you'll see that it's really come a long way. You'll be joining, for those of you who haven't used Langsbox already, a community of scholars who use the system, which is now really quite large. I think something like over 50,000 people have registered to use Langsbox to date. So you're joining quite a community of users. And I'm sure that you'll meet many people who've used the tool and read many papers that have used it also. And in time, you'll be writing those papers, either a thesis or papers for publication. And I think Langsbox will really help you. So I hope you enjoy the event today. Do share your thoughts with us at the Q&A panel. I've already pointed out how important you sharing your ideas with us are. We do listen, and we do take your ideas into account when we're developing this marvelous tool. So enjoy the event, and over to Václav.
Brilliant, wonderful. Our picture froze a bit, but it doesn't matter. Let's move on with our webinar, and let's introduce the wonderful team that will be supporting the webinar today. So first of all, I would like to introduce Raffaella Bottini, who's going to say a few words about herself and her experience with Langsbox. So over to you, Raffaella.
Thank you, Václav. Hi, everybody. My name is Raffaella Bottini, and I'm part of the Center for Corpus Approaches to Social Sciences here at Lancaster University. I research the application of corpus methods to the analysis of vocabulary, especially in spoken learner corpora. And I use Langsbox in my research. I use the quick tool to look for concordances around the specific search term. And my favorite tool is a GraphQL tool to create collocation tables, networks, and visualize results. So welcome everybody, and I hope we'll have a chance to talk together and ask questions and share knowledge in the discussion and in the chat box.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Rafaela. And now I would like to ask Yejin to say a few words. Yejin, it's over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yejin Zhang, and I'm a PhD student here in Lancaster University. I've been learning Langsbox through this annual Corpus Linguistics summer school, and also I'm going to use Langsbox for my own research, which I investigate the linguistic features of evaluation and evaluative meanings in L2 context. I'm glad to meet you all today, and I hope you enjoy this opportunity. Welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yejin. And I would like to invite Tanjun to say a few words to you now. Tanjun, it's over to you.
Thank you, Vasa. Hello, everyone. My name is Tanjun Liu. I have just finished my PhD in CAS. My PhD research is about using Langsbox in second language learners collocation learning. From students' feedback, we can see that students like Langsbox a lot, especially graphical, and the students' feedback also contribute to the updates of the Langsbox. So very happy to meet everyone online. Hope everyone can join the webinar today.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tanjun, and your help is really, really appreciated. Luke, it's over to you now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Luke Collins. I'm a Senior Research Associate here at the CAS Research Centre. My work is around applying corpus linguistic methods to health communication. I've worked with a few iterations of Langsbox, so it's great to see version 5 launched today. As a toolkit, it's kind of crammed with lots of tools for helping you approach your data from different ways, but it really helps you to bring those tools together. And I think the latest edition will be also a good way to do that. So looking forward to seeing how people use it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Luke. And over to Lorraine now.
Hi everyone, I'm Lorraine Fox. I'm a PhD student in CAS as well here at Lancaster. My research is looking into collocations in spoken L1 and L2 English. My experience with Langsbox, I remember testing it out when I was actually an undergraduate student here many years ago at Lancaster, and yeah, like Luke said, I've really enjoyed seeing the development of Langsbox as a tool. Most of the time now, as well as using it for research projects, I also teach other undergrad students how to use it, and I'll be doing a little bit of teaching and some practical tasks with you later on in the webinar, which I'm really looking forward to.
Brilliant, wonderful one. So are we very much looking forward to that practical bit. And now finally over to Hannah, who is monitoring the social media, and she's monitoring all the Q&As and is responsible for the pollings today. So over to you, Hannah. Could you say a few words?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Langsbox Live event from me as well. My name is Hannah Schmidt. I'm currently working on my MA dissertation here at Lancaster. And I've also been using Langsbox for a number of different research projects, mostly using keyword and collocation analysis, and especially using self-compiled corpora. My personal main research interest is in collocation networks, which means I've been using especially the graphical features similar to Rafaela extensively, and I'm very much looking forward to sharing the 5.0 version of Langsbox with you all and discussing all the new features and your ideas and your research interests regarding corpora and what you can do with Langsbox to reach your goals.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hannah. Your work is really appreciated. And let's continue with our webinar now and see what we have on offer for you guys. So you know the team now, and we also would like to know you a bit, our wonderful audience. Currently almost 400 people watching us live, and there will be more people joining us later. what we have prepared is a short poll for you, and a link should appear now in the Q&A box. So kindly, if you could go to the link and answer this simple poll question, that would give us a bit of an idea about your background and the tools that you have used in Corpus linguistics before. So which of these Corpus tools have you used in Corpus linguistics, in Corpus research? And I'm going to switch back to Hannah, who is monitoring the answers as they are coming in, and hopefully there are some answers coming in. So over to you, Hannah, now. And do we have any early results of this first poll? And I appreciate that people are still sort of probably clicking on that, but let's see how the picture develops. I'm going to share that screen as well, just for us to give some kind of idea what is happening. Obviously, we would need some annotation for which tool is which. So what are the results, Hannah? Any thoughts from you?
Yes, so the results are currently in. Well, we have about 500 voters at the moment, as you should be seeing. Most people, by a vast majority, have used Antcock, followed by Sketch Engine, and then Langsbox, BNC Web, BYU, Corpus. So, but the numbers are still changing. I think it's going to take some time. We have an incredible number of voters here. We're talking about 160 voters and 590 votes. So most people use multiple Corpus tools. As you can see, the numbers are still changing. But yeah, it seems to have come to a halt now. So in this table, as you can see, Antconc is leading, followed by Sketch Engine. And then our very own Langsbox. So that seems to be the picture that emerges here, with W Matrix and CQP Web as the least frequent used tools. But again, I'm expecting the numbers to change slightly with time. Still, we're approaching 200.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this, Paul. This is very interesting, and obviously there's a range of tools that we can use in Corpus linguistics, and the tools are always available for different types of tasks. And if you consider Langsbox as useful for your research, we will be very, very happy. But obviously, you know, I also use a range of tools in my own research for various purposes, because tools is a means to an end. We have a research question and we want to find the best tool that actually suits our purposes. So we are going to continue with our presentation. I just get the slides back up. And thank you so much for taking part in the poll, because I think it is very interesting just to get a sort of survey of our audience and their previous experience with a variety of different Corpus linguistic tools. So here's our brand new Langsbox, and obviously from the poll we know that many of you have already used Langsbox before, which is really gratifying, and we are very, very happy about that, because we are very proud to be sharing Langsbox for free with the Corpus linguistic community and with anyone who's interested in the analysis of language or teaching with Langsbox, as Tanjun actually tried in her research and was very, very popular with students back in China. So just to give you an idea what Langsbox is about, I'm going to play you a short video. For that, I need to just change the sharing of the screen and share this video again with you. Okay, sending it live now. So for those of you who are new to Langsbox, here's a Langsbox in a nutshell.
What is Langsbox? Langsbox is a free software tool developed at Lancaster University to analyse and visualise language. The tool is user-friendly and can be used by researchers, students and teachers in a wide variety of disciplines, including linguistics, education, history, sociology, psychology and many others. Here's how the tool works. You can load your own data in any format or use data that comes with the tool. The tool searches the data, which we call corpora, produces graphs, and performs statistical analysis. For example, imagine you want to find how many times the word Sherlock appears in the works of Arthur Conan Doyle. You can simply use the corpus of collected works available in Langsbox and type the word Sherlock into the search box. The number you'll get is 388. with 33 instances of the name Sherlock appearing in the story of The Hound of the Baskervilles. Similarly, you can see that the phrase "elementary, my dear Watson," now attributed to the famous fictional detective, does not appear in the corpus at all. With Langsbox, you can search, analyse and visualise very large amounts of language. So, why don't you try it yourself?
Absolutely. Why not try it yourself? And indeed, in this webinar, we shall try the Langsbox brand new version, Langsbox 5. Obviously, in Lancaster, as you've heard from our wonderful team, we use Langsbox every day in our everyday research, and we very much hope that you will be able to see the qualities of the tool as well, and if useful, you will be able to apply that in your own research. Though there are many innovations in version 5, so if you've used Langsbox before, I would encourage you to download version 5, which is available. I'll give you the link in a moment. There are many innovations, including more corpora, more sophisticated searches, more statistics, but most importantly, there's a new tool, and on Twitter, when we advertised this event, I posted this graph that sort of tries to introduce the tool. This is a collocation graph with the node with a question mark in the middle, and as most of you have probably guessed, the name of the tool is Wizard, because these are the collocates that in the British National Corpus co-occur with the term wizard. So let's introduce the Wizard tool, and here it is. Here's the brand new module within Langsbox. Within the same toolbox, you can now reach out and use the Wizard tool. The Wizard tool is a tool that can automatically create research reports, and you can just simply add your bits and pieces to the research report and send it off to a journal if you like. So it is a very powerful tool that combines the search power and visualization and statistical power of the whole Langsbox tool. I will keep you in a suspense for a moment because we'll get back to the Wizard tool after I highlight some of the other features of Langsbox, but this is something that you can look forward to towards the end of this webinar, when we'll go into the details of how the Wizard tool works, and you will be also able to use the Wizard tool with the data that we provide or with your own data, and see whether you can actually, as part of this live webinar, whether you can actually create your own research report using the Wizard tool. So now would be a good time for you, our wonderful participants, to go online, Google Langsbox, or go to this website. Again, someone from the team, if you could just send the link in the Q&A session, that would be wonderful. And depending on your operating system, please download the new version 5, Windows, Mac, or Linux, if you like. So just to give you a very brief background of where we are in terms of thinking about corpus linguistics and where the Langsbox tool fits within our thinking about corpus linguistics. Recently, I've tried to review the state of the art in corpus linguistics and where the field is and where the field is moving at the moment. And I think this is a really wonderful picture to be able to see that corpus linguistics is actually more popular than ever before. There's a growing community of people using corpora for a wide variety of research, ranging from discourse analysis to applied linguistic analysis. So there's a whole range of applications. Corpus linguistics is also becoming much more interdisciplinary, and we have a very good example of this very close at home, the CAS Research Centre, the ESRC Centre for Corpus Approaches to Social Science, that actually combines corpus linguistics and tries to reach out to other disciplines, not only of social science, but also natural scientists. We've collaborated with medical researchers, climatologists, and many others, historians and psychologists, just to see the wonderful power of language and the wonderful power of the analysis of language, which is the underlying thread of any human activity. Corpus linguistics has also become more complex and sophisticated than ever before, which is a wonderful thing. We use many more tools. We use also more complex statistical analyses. But obviously the flip side of that is that corpus linguistics has also become more challenging, probably more challenging than ever before. We can't just simply apply simple tests that were the state of the art 10 years ago. Chi-square test and log likelihood were the most widely used tests in corpus linguistics at that time. Now we've approached the point where we are looking also at different ways of summarizing, visualizing, and analyzing the corpus data. And I believe this is where the Langsbox tool comes in. So our philosophy behind the Langsbox tool is that we want to make the tool as accessible, easy to use, and powerful as we can. We also strive for innovation, always bringing new features, new tools, and actually anticipating where the tool, where the field of corpus linguistics is heading in the future. And we very much hope that with it, the new module that we are introducing today will be a contribution to this debate of corpus linguistics and where we are moving with the field. So if I were to summarize the next step that we are trying to bring to corpus linguistics with this new release of Langsbox, I would use one word, and that is synthesis, bringing everything together. And indeed, the wizard tool is a tool that brings together different approaches to corpora, different tools that analyze the language that is available in corpora through different statistical tools, and give you a slightly different view on how things operate. So this is where our philosophy leads to the practical application, and that's the Langsbox tool version 5. So let me give you a very brief overview of the key features of Langsbox version 5, and later on you will have an opportunity with Lorraine to actually test some of the key features and try it out with real data. So this is an overview, especially for those of you who are new to Langsbox, but I'll be also highlighting features that are not so well known to those of you who already used Langsbox before and used the previous versions before. So what we have here is the startup of Langsbox when you launch Langsbox, you will land on the Corpora tab. And then you have a range of options, range of tools that you can initiate from Langsbox. It is the quick tool, which is the concordance tool. It produces concordances, keywords in contexts, and you can search, filter in different ways. And Quick has a very powerful functionality that allows you to see the use of language in context. GraphQL, and some of our wonderful team members already mentioned the GraphQL tool. The GraphQL tool is a tool for visualizing and analyzing collocations, and it produces beautiful graphs such as these, where we can actually visualize the co-occurrence of words in context, build networks of collocations, and statistically analyze these. Then we have the tool that we call Welk, and if you are interested why we call the tool Welk, you can go to the Langsbox manual available on the website and read about a bit of the history of the Welk tool. This is a tool for distribution, because we know in corpus linguistics the distribution of linguistic features in individual texts is very, very important, and this is what you can achieve very, very easily when you go to the Welk tool, and you can see how your linguistic features distributed inside your corpus throughout your individual texts. Then we have two tools, words and n-grams, that produce word lists and n-gram lists, so 2, 3, 4, and so on, word combinations. And it also visualizes the distribution of the words and n-grams in different parts of your corpus. So if you are interested in the summary statistics of your corpora, then words and n-grams is a very good way into your corpora. You can also produce keywords and key n-gram lists using these two tools when you compare two corpora with each other. Then we have the text tool, the tool that displays the full texts and the search terms in their full context of a text or of the whole corpus. And finally, as I already mentioned, the brand new wizard tool that produces wonderful research reports that you can edit in Microsoft Word very, very easily. And it also downloads all the data of the analysis, but I'll talk about the details in a moment. So this is an overview of what's on offer inside the Langsbox. So everything is in one box, which is the Langsbox. So at this stage, I would like to invite you, our wonderful participants, to take part in our second poll. I've now highlighted some of the features of Langsbox, and I would like to know which of the features or feature, if you were to pick one, you would be most interested in. So again, in the Q&A, there will be a link to the second poll, and in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Hannah, who's going to tell you some of the results of the poll as they are coming in. So I'm going to first of all switch to Hannah, who's monitoring the poll, and I'm also going to share the numbers with you as they are coming in. So
hi everyone. So as you can see, hopefully, the voters numbers are climbing again. We're looking at 50 voters at the moment. And for the time being, most people seem to be most interested in the wizard. We're very happy to hear that, naturally, since that is the new feature. So that's a very positive outcome, and followed by a large interest in GraphQL, probably reflecting what the distribution that we had in our own team as well. So GraphQL seems to be the second most sought after feature of Langsbox. Then this is followed by the n-gram tool. Yep, at the moment the numbers don't seem to be changing that much in relation to one another, so it seems to be a fairly stable picture. So yeah, this is followed by n-grams, and then quick, and then there's individual people that are most interested in bulk words and just the text feature. But yeah, as we can see now, a very positive outcome for, especially for this webinar where we're presenting the new version, is that the visit is this popular among our users. At the moment, we're looking at 160 voters. Since it's one vote each, that means the equal number of votes. And the wizard is definitely taking the lead here, with 60 people being most interested in the wizard roughly. Again, these numbers might change, the detailed numbers might change, but I think the general picture is pretty clear.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Hannah. This is really great to see that people are actually so interested in the innovation that we are offering to the corpus linguistic community and the sort of general linguistic and social science community as well. So let's talk about these features and let's try them in practice. And I can definitely promise that we will focus on Wizard and show you how it works and actually let you have a go at it yourself, so you can actually see how it works in real life. So back to our slides. I'm just going to switch the presentation. And what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the features that might not be that familiar to you, and then Laura is going to take over and she's going to guide you through the practical exercise where you can download a handout and have a go at the searches by yourselves and see how it works in practice. So Langsbox is an incredibly versatile tool because it can load data from two basic sources. We provide our own corpora that you can load very easily into Langsbox, and we keep adding more and more corpora as we go in multiple different languages. We also provide a list of corpora that are freely available that you can download from the web and load into Langsbox. So this is probably a feature that not so many of you are familiar with, but the final item on the list of corpora is the list of external corpora that are available on the web that are easily downloadable, and you can use them in Langsbox if you wish. Langsbox also loads data that you have on your hard drive or on your shared drive, so your own data, and that gives Langsbox the incredible versatility. So it loads data that you have collected, so your own corpora, and that's where you need to click if you want to see your own corpora. The good news is that Langsbox actually allows you to load corpora in a whole range of file formats. So never again do you need to convert corpora back to plain text or back to XML. Langsbox just takes any format in which you have your corpus data, as long as it is as long as some text is present in that file. So if you are teachers, you can very easily collect your student essays in Microsoft Word documents or similar type of documents, OpenOffice documents, and just load them directly into Langsbox. If you have your data in PDF, such as academic journal articles you want to analyze as part of EAP, you can do that directly in Langsbox, and you don't have to convert that. There are dozens of different file formats that we support in Langsbox, so everything is really, really easy. One of the features that you might not be familiar with, and I'm now speaking more to the advanced users of Langsbox is this import option. So if you click here on import options in Langsbox, whole range of options open. When you load Corpora, you can actually change the parameters in such a way as to make the processing relevant to your own research question. There's one feature that we introduced in the last release of the tool that is not that well familiar with to people, is the pre-processing. Langsbox actually allows you to, if you click on the last item in the import option, to clean the data when you load them, or split the data into multiple files. And actually, this is very easy to do using the predefined scripts, or you can actually, if you are an advanced user and familiar with scripting, you can actually modify the existing scripts or write your own scripts to pre-process the data as you load those. So this is a feature available to advanced users who are familiar with a bit of scripting. So again, Langsbox is an incredibly versatile tool, allowing us to process the data in various ways. Langsbox is also a very powerful tool with searching. We can search for words, we can search for phrases, we can search also for grammatical structures, and in Langsbox we have predefined a set of grammatical structures and commonly search structures that we call smart searches. Here's a list of smart searches that we can use when you start typing all caps any of these terms. Langsbox will be able to search for them very easily without you knowing the underlying part of speech tag combination. So this is a feature that allows searches to be very easily handled even in the classroom context. And Langsbox is an incredibly flexible tool, so you can edit the list of features and add yours if you like to the list. If there are any features that are missing from this list and you would like to include them, you can do that very, very easily. Again, I would refer you to the manual to go and check where this is defined. The last feature I would like to highlight before handing over to Lorraine is the visualizing feature. Langsbox started as a tool for visualizing collocations, and we kept the visualizing element, the emphasis on visual, very strong throughout the tool. GraphQL is one of the tools that visualizes collocation networks, but there are other visualization features and statistical graphs features throughout the tool. GraphQL, and this is an example of the GraphQL tool, allows you to create graphs and networks of collocations like this one here. I'm searching for the word good and looking at the words around it. This is color coded according to the part of speech, so you can see that unsurprisingly, most of the words around good are nouns, the blue dots. Some of them are adjectives, the green dots, and some of them are adverbs, the orange dots. So you get a very quick picture of what is happening in your data very easily. You can also, here's the graph in a zoom. You can also search for multiple words to create what is called a collocation network, where you can see the overlaps of different collocates. In version 5, we have added a feature which I think a lot of the users will appreciate, and that's a feature where you can click on shared collocates and actually get a full list of shared collocates in the tool for further analysis. So not only can you see this in the graph, but you also get a full list as a table, which is sometimes very important if you have a complex graph that you are dealing with. Okay, as I promised, there's going to be a practical session coming up. So I'm going to share the screen now, Laura's screen, and she's going to highlight the features of the practical session and guide you through the practical session. So now switching over to Laura.
Thanks, Václav. Let me just share my screen with you all. Here we go. So hopefully you should be seeing some Langsbox right now. What we're going to be doing in the practical session, like Václav was saying, is we're going to be trying out some of the features, and this is also a chance for you to ask questions that you may have about Langsbox and its features. And just as a reminder, we have our members of our research team waiting, ready to answer them, and you can do this again via the Q&A text box. I'm going to send the handout link as well. Have we got that in the text box, in the Q&A, sorry? Or shall I do that? I can do that here as well. So just to make sure you all have the handout that we'll be using here. Brilliant. Okay. So before we get started with the task this morning, hopefully you've had the chance to download Langsbox by now. If you're using a different version, 4.5 for example, you can still work along with me with these tasks. So go ahead and open up your Langsbox, and we're going to be downloading a corpus first. So we click here on Corpus, and this will show this window here. And what we're going to be using today is the VU Lancaster corpus, so the VU-LC corpus here. There's a little bit of information about the corpus here as well. So you want to click I agree with the corpus license and just click download. And you can see Langsbox working away, downloading that very clearly here. And here are all our text files. You don't need to do anything else here apart from click import. And now what's happening is Langsbox is working away, and if you see in the corner here, it's tagging the corpus for you. So this is just going to take a couple of moments. So we're going to be using that in the background, leaving that to work away. And while that's working away, we are going to have a look at the handout here as well. So just as a reminder, I've put that in the Q&A. And I'll be flipping backwards and forwards. So if you're just following along with me, then you can see it on my screen as well. So feel free to work at your own pace as well. What we're going to be doing today is a mixture of demonstrating, explaining, and letting you explore the tool yourselves. It's quite a substantial amount of tasks, and we won't get through them all in this 20-minute session. But remember that you can review the video again and work at this in your own pace. And just as a reminder, we're really only going to be scratching the surface of what Langsbox can do, but hopefully this will be a really good taster of what's possible, and we're going to kind of get the foundation skills that you need to be able to use the rest of the tools. So today's tasks are based around investigating features of academic prose in written L2 English. And the first task is going to focus on practicing different types of searches using the Quick tool that we've heard about. And then we will also be having a go at making collocation graphs as well using the GraphCol tool. And for those of you joining us, I know some of you have used Langsbox before. There's also optional tasks that you can try during the webinar if you want to go at your own pace, or afterwards as well. Remember, again, it's been recorded, and we will give you the answers to all of these tasks as well, so you won't be sort of kept waiting. And just remember to ask questions, and our team are going to be on hand to answer them during the event. So now I've done that little introduction, brilliant. We can flip back to Langsbox here, hopefully. Here we go. And now we can see our corpus is fully loaded and tagged, and we can have a little bit of a look at the information about the corpus here. So this is kind of the corpus breakdown. So now you've got your corpus loaded, the first thing we're going to be doing is using the quick tool. So we just want to go up here and click on this tab, and then this is going to bring a new window up. This is our search box here, and our first search in our handout is for however, so this connecting word here. So all you do is click however for this simple search and click search. And Langsbox will work away, and there we go. Show the concordance signs. So this is the keyword in context, and I can make that just a little bit bigger for you, just as a demonstration. So the information that you're going to need to fill out your handout is the occurrences. So here we have the raw frequency. So this is how many times the search that you've done occurs in the corpus overall. So we can see that however occurs 132 times. We also have the relative frequency, which has been normalized per 10,000 tokens. And if you ever forget how many tokens it's been normalized, it gives you the information here when you hover over it. So this is really important when you're wanting to make comparisons. Then here is the next box that you're going to add to in your handout. And this is looking at the distribution of the search term. So we can see that however occurs in 64 out of 104 of the texts. So in this case, as you remember, these are student essays. So we have 104 essays, and however occurs in 64 of them. So this is really important information to get a sense of distribution from the start. So hopefully you've had a chance to download the corpus and it's all working well now, and you've had a chance to have a little look at however. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause for just a few moments to let people catch up, and also for you to try out those other simple searches. So the other simple search is but, and we also have the phrase search as well, which is according to. So I'm just going to pause here for a couple of moments to let people catch up with that. And if you're working along with me, let's just have a look at according to. So here we can see according to in the corpus, and this is again the information that you would fill in your answer sheet. Did you get the same? Hopefully so. The next type of search that we are going to have a little look at is the wildcard search. So I'm just flicking back to the handout here. My screen might take a couple of seconds to catch up. There we go. And we're looking for the wildcard search with influence. So these searches include special characters. We're only going to focus on the asterisk today. So what I want you to do is go ahead first, and I'm flicking back to Langsbox here. And I want you to, before I tell you what it actually does, why don't you try it out for yourself and see if you can guess? So here we have influence with an asterisk. That in for you a little bit there. So can you see any patterns emerging using this asterisk? So we can see that influence with the asterisk is coming up with influence, influenced, and influences as well. So if you guessed that the asterisk means to look for the word root, so in our case influence, plus 0 or more characters, then you would be right. So well done with that. There is more information about wildcard searches in the Langsbox manual, which I've also linked in the handout as well, right at the bottom. So I'm just flicking back to our handout here. And the next type of search that we're going to do, we can see here, is a smart search, as Václav has introduced as well in the introduction. So what we are going to do is we're going to do a smart search for nominalizations. So again, these are complex searches that are predefined in the tool, so you don't actually need to learn the complexity behind them. It's a really great way of being able to use this, like Václav was saying, in classrooms and things like that. Just as a note, smart searches are always in capital letters, so try this one out for yourself. You can also see it handily autofills for you as well, so you don't need to type the whole thing. So we can see here, this has searched for all of the instances of nominalizations in the corpus. And again, the full list of smart searches are in the manual, and you can define some yourself as well. So let's have a little flick back to the handout. And now we have a final type of search just looking at today, and these are the regular expressions or regex searches. And these are the most complex, but also the most powerful searches, and they let you search for any combination of characters. So go ahead and just try out these and see what you can see. So I'm flicking back to Langsbox here. And if you're following along with me, let's do this one together. So we've got a / there first, and however, and then we've got this pipe symbol. Sometimes that takes a little while to find on your keyboard if you're not used to it. And then you want to finish that search off with another /. And then we're clicking search. And I'm just zooming in a little bit here as well. So as you can see here, hopefully, you can see that the search results show both but and however in the concordance lines. However, the occurrences don't equal our previous searches. So we've already searched for however, and we've already searched for but, haven't we? But this is not equal to those two added together. And I'm going to let you think about that. I'm not going to tell you the answer to that. You can read it in the answers when we finish the webinar, but have a think about why that might be. And then finally, our last type of search is another regex search, and it's possible in Langsbox to do like a little bit more of an advanced search using this drop-down arrow here. So we're going to click on the drop-down arrow, and it comes up with this new sort of search bar, and we've got head word and part of speech here. So we want to look for state as a verb because we're interested in, for example, reporting verbs in this corpus. So we are going to put in state here first, and then the tag here, which is V and an asterisk. And we're just going to click search again. And now you should see the output. So now we have, I'll just zoom in again for you. Now we have a lemma search for all instances of state as a verb rather than any other type of part of speech. Brilliant. So hopefully that covers most of the instances of searching that you're going to be using. But there's also something else that we can do in Quick as well that we're going to look at today, and that's filtering. So sometimes we can get too many results in the concordance lines that aren't really what we want to look at. So we want to filter those out so we can gain a better sense of what we're looking at. So the next task, which is task 2 on your handout, the first thing that we're going to search for is verbs, and verbs is going to be our search term. We're going to click search for here. And as you can see, we've done a smart search, which has come up with every instance of verb in the corpus. And I can zoom in on that for you here. As you can imagine, there's quite a lot of verbs in this corpus, so we want to filter and we want to just have a little look at what comes anywhere to the left of the search term. So you want to hover over the heading here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a right click on here, and then that is going to come up with a new window. And now you have lots of options for the filter. You can explore these as and when you want to. Just for today, we are going to focus on that first part of the task. So we're going to look for however anywhere to the left of the search. So we want to click here for left. And this is anywhere to the left. These are specific positions to the left. So we click left here. And we want to click and here because it's however and the verb. You can also do or and not here as well. But just for today, we're going to put in however here. And a really important step that sometimes you might miss, I know I have done sometimes, is you need to make sure you press the add button so it adds it to the filter. And then finally click apply. So now, hopefully you can see all of these occurrences now are highlighted and the amount of text. And this is, however, occurring anywhere to the left of our first initial search, which was for verbs. So that's sort of the last part of the first half of the tasks. So well done for working through that. You're now able to do a variety of different searches, and that's a really great foundation for everything else that you can possibly do in Langsbox. Once again, if I've gone a little quick or if my screen was taking a little bit long to load, feel free to refer back to the recording and also the handout in your own time as well. So for the last 5 minutes of the session, we've talked a lot about the GraphQL tool already, so we're going to have a little go at playing around with the different settings with this and talking about why those are important. So the first thing you do is you want to click on the GraphQL tab, and this will come up with a new window. And what we're going to do first is just search for a simple search for research. And we're not changing anything just yet. So here we have our graph output, and hopefully you have something that looks similar. This is the visualization of the collocational behavior of research. So we have the frequency in the corpus overall. So this is research and the raw frequency overall in the corpus. And here we have the number of collocates that are collocating with research. So this is information that you're going to need to put in that handout. This first search we did, we're just looking at the frequency. So if you can see here, So unsurprisingly, the top colloquy is actually the, which is not that much of a surprise. But what we can do is change the statistical association measure, which is what we're going to do now. So the next parts of this task is looking at the different settings to help us interpret the collocation graph. So we can click on the statistical association measure here. Now, I don't have time to go into too much detail about the different association measures. As you can see here in the drop-down menu, there's actually 14 different ones. Just for today, we're going to pick MI. And that's all you need to worry about for this moment. And then just click apply. What Langsbox does is that it deletes the current graph, and this is a really great way to keep on top of your searches and keep it clear and like make it clean for you essentially. So we're going to delete that, and we're going to go ahead and click in research again and click search. And now hopefully you should be able to see a bit of a comparison between when we were just looking at frequency versus when we changed that statistical association measure to MI. Now we can see that the top colloquy is done. So this is the strongest colloquy, and we can see there's actually less collocates. So just as a note, the fact that there's less collocates, it just means that the statistical measure is highlighting different collocates. It's not deleting them or getting rid of them. It's just sort of putting some into view and putting some outside of the view. Another setting that we're going to have a little look at is the threshold setting, which is the next one along. And this is a really important setting to consider if your graph has too many collocations, if it's too busy. So for today, we're just going to change this to 5, and this is just making the strength of association a little bit higher. So it's changing the cutoff points for you for your graph. So we click apply, and we're going to delete our graph again, and we're going to click research and search again. And you can see there's less collocates now available in the graph. However, once again, they're not gone anywhere. We've just changed the view slightly. So you can see here now we have 14 collocates, and these are the top 14 here. And then the final setting that I want to show you before we finish this practical session is the window span, because this is also really important. So in our tasks, we want to change our left, we want to stick with our left at 5, and we want to change our right span to 0. So this means we're only looking for collocates 5 to the left of our node of our search term, which is research, and no places to the right. We click apply. Once again, it deletes the graph, which is absolutely fine. And then we have research and a very different looking graph. So we only have 2 collocates now with research. So these are that task was just sort of looking at the different settings that you can change depending on like your research questions and what you're investigating. We are out of time for our practical session right now. So what I want you to do as a little bit of homework is to try those last 2 tasks. So task 4 and task 5. What I've done is I've added a fair bit of instruction there to give you a direction of exactly what you need to be doing and clicking on, and also some screenshots to help you as well. So I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. Refer back to the video as and when you need to, and also feel free to have a little browse around the Langsbox version 5 manual as well. So there's a direct link here. So we're just about out of time now. So I'm going to hand back to Václav, who is going to introduce the much anticipated new feature of Langsbox, the wizard tool. And yeah, thank you for following along with me. And I hope you find Langsbox useful for your research. I don't think we can hear you, Václav. Are you muted still?
Thank you. Now, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lorraine. And we were really busy typing in different searches into the Langsbox search window. And thank you so much for guiding us through this in such a clear way. So hopefully, this was very useful to the participants as well. As Lorraine said, we are going to now, with this little bit of suspense, focus on the final feature, and that's the wizard tool, a short wizard demo that I want to share with you right now. So I'm again going to share my screen. And talk about the wizard tool that I briefly showed you at the very beginning of this webinar. Again, if you have downloaded version 5 of Langsbox, you will be able to follow this in real time and actually try to create your own research report if you like. For that, you have to load some corpora into Langsbox, and these corpora are either the corpora that we provide or corpora that you have at your disposal. It's up to you, depending on your research project, depending on your research question. But first, let me talk about the wizard screen just to introduce the individual features and how to go about this. Wizard is really very, very simple. There are 4 simple steps that you can follow in order to achieve a very complex results in your research report that reflects the complexity of the field and where the field is going, as I was talking about that in the introduction. So first of all, you want to look at the corpora, and that's your first step. You have to choose a corpus or multiple corpora if you like. There can be as many corpora as you like, but think carefully about what data you want to use, because the reports can go into hundreds of pages if you use too many of those corpora, and they might get very, very complex. So think about the data that suits your research question or research questions. The next step is to choose the tools as we have introduced them in this webinar. The whole range of tools that are available to you as users in Langsbox are also available to you via the wizard tool in the same way. You can choose the tools and also modify the settings as Lorraine did in the practical demonstration. So you can actually choose your collocation measures if you like. You can choose the window size in GraphQL, for instance, and any other settings that are available to you via the user interface otherwise. Then the next third step is to choose your search terms. You don't need to choose search terms if you want a very quick report just using words and n-grams. But if you are using quick GraphQL, WELC or text, you want to enter some search terms, words, phrases that you want to search for. You can also use regular expressions here. And if you have a long list of search terms, you can very easily load this from a text file. So a text file with search terms, 1 per line, and you can load a whole lot of search terms into Wizard. And then you just modify the name of the report if you want to have a particular name in your report, depending on your research question, the differences between British and American English, for instance. You can leave the default folder location. It defaults to your desktop, so the report will appear on your desktop, but you might prefer to save the report to a different location. In that case, you click on folder and navigate to where you want to save your research report, and then you just click run, sit back, relax and enjoy Wizard doing all the hard work for you, because what happens in the background is, and Wizard will be informing you as it goes through the process of searching and analyzing your data, it will inform you about where it is at that particular moment, but in a matter of minutes or tens of minutes, depending on the complexity of your searches, number of search terms and number of corpora and number of tools you use, you'll get a research report that looks like this. And I'm just showing you the overview of the research report that you can open very, very easily in Microsoft Word. This research report follows the standard structure that we would expect from a scientific report, starting with an introduction, method section, results section, and then we have references and the appendix with extra data. Obviously, we don't have the discussion section. This is something for you to write. What you can see inside the report, and again, this is an editable Microsoft Word document, so you can add and delete bits and pieces of the report very, very easily, is the overview that was automatically generated based on your input, the data that you have selected, and the description of the data that you have selected. So we show tables, but we also describe these tables for you. So it's not just a list of tables, but it also very intelligently looks inside the tables and gives you the summary overview of what's happening there, as you would normally expect from a research report written by an experienced researcher. Scrolling down to the results section, the results section is structured according to the different types of areas that you've selected in your Wizard settings that you want to look at. Here we are looking at the general overview, the frequency lists in our corpora. And again, we display frequency statistics, dispersion statistics, and all that is necessary. Here's another snapshot from the research report looking at the graphs produced by the graph call tool that Lorraine introduced in her practical session. And again, as I said, below the report, you have a nice summary of what is happening there. The graph is fairly complex due to the settings I've chosen. And we can see 220 collocates of good and 140 collocates of great. These were our search terms, and 111 shared collocates, and all of these are listed. So the graph is fully described below, and also there's a reference to the appendix where you can see the table behind this graph. So basically, the Wizard tool does all the hard work for you. When we scroll down to the next section, and there's the section of statistical analysis, the Wizard tool automatically connects to our online server-based statistical tool that we call Lancaster Stats Tools Online, and performs the relevant statistical analyses for you. If you want to, for instance, as in this case, compare the use of the word good in the Lob corpus, British English, and Brown corpus, American English, it can do that very, very easily. In this case, it calculates automatically the t-test and the relevant effect size measure, Cohen's d, and also interprets the results. It also produces the 95% confidence interval graph, the error bars that you can also see in this screenshot. So the report is fairly complex, and you can actually have a look at it and browse it and to see the numerous features that we have added to this report. Finally, one thing I would like to mention is that in addition to the report, you get a folder with all the data that Langsbox downloaded in order to create the report. So you get a full data set that you can open in Excel or Calc or any spreadsheet tool of your preference, and you can look at these data for further analysis. You can add bits and pieces to the report if you like. If you want to pursue a particular point in more detail, you can always do that, because all the data has been downloaded as part of the wizard processing your corpora and searching, analyzing and visualizing the corpora. So we believe Wizard is a great help to the research community because it actually speeds up the process of creating research reports. You know, with a bit of exaggeration, I say that you can just write your literature review and your discussion section and send it off to a journal or submit it as your dissertation. Obviously, you need to carefully review the data and see what is happening there and understand what is happening, and provide that type of human interpretation of the data. But it is a great step towards something that actually is structured in a standard way, and hopefully will help you, our wonderful participants and the research community in general, to explore corpora in multiple different perspectives. So just to summarize from my perspective, what I believe the main advantages of the Wizard tool, the new Wizard tool that we are introducing today, are, I think it gives more time to the researchers for exploration. If you have multiple research questions, multiple search terms, you can just enter them into the Wizard tool, run it, and if you have a very complex situation, a very complex set of research questions, you can run your Wizard tool overnight. Just don't forget to change your operating system settings so that the computer doesn't switch off automatically. Let Wizard run, and in the morning you can pick up a report that can be of hundreds of pages, if you like, if you are dealing with a very complex situation. So it gives more time for exploration, more time for multiple perspectives, because we can explore the corpora using different tools, and that gives us a different viewpoints on the data and hopefully better and deeper understanding of what is going on in the data. And obviously this also leaves time for linguistic interpretation. This is very, very crucial in any research. Langsbox can provide the data and the most up-to-date and state-of-the-art statistical analyses and visualizations of the data. What it can't provide is the linguistic interpretation, the experience of a interpreter, a linguist, a social scientist who looks at the data and connects it to the world outside, to linguistic and social theory. And this is something that we can provide, but now we have more time for it because we can focus on something that we are very good at, and that is understanding the world and providing the interpretation of it. And ultimately, that summarizes it all. Wizard actually gives us more time for things that matter, because it takes the hard work from us and creates that automatically. And actually, I think, you know, this is what computers are very good at, doing tasks at a bulk, doing batch searches and providing a summary and synthesis. So, you know, that's hopefully our debate, a contribution to the debate in corpus linguistics. And I would be really, really curious to hear your thoughts about this, whether you like the tool or whether you think this wouldn't work in your particular research context. Both are fine, but we are really excited about this tool and we are definitely going to use it in our own research, and hopefully this will be of some use to you as well. So what I would like to do now in the last bit of this webinar is just to ask Hannah whether there are any recurring questions. Obviously, we've been answering the questions as you posted them in the Q&A slot, but let's see whether there are any questions that tend to appear and that would deserve some answer for everyone. So Hannah, how are we doing with the questions that are that are in the Q&A panel?
First of all, thank you everyone for sharing your questions with us and for really amazing discussions in the Q&A section so far. I think the most dominant topic of discussion right at the end was appreciation for the wizard. So loads of people seem to really enjoy the tool and are eager to use it in their research. Apart from that, some recurrent questions were about using different languages when working with Langsbox. So we've tried pointing people to the resources available for the specific languages that they're interested in. So yeah, but generally speaking, there was a large demand for tagging in different languages being made available in Langsbox and so on. So that was one big topic. Apart from that, large parts of the discussion were also about technical tips and tricks and little details, especially about how to import corpora and the different ways of doing that exactly in terms of POS tagging, filtering, information like that. So again, we've tried to point everyone to the relevant information, and as you all can see on the screen, well, soon I guess, is we have the manual available as well. So most of these questions can be answered by just looking at the manual and going through the different sections. And getting a feel of what Langsbox can and can't do. And yes, so loads of questions in that area where a further exploration of the guide and the handout will be very helpful. And yes, so apart from that, at the moment it seems like most people are really happy about the new wizard feature and glad that they can incorporate it in their future research. Yeah, I think these are the most prevalent topics. Basically, yes, language implementation, corpus loading, and the new wizard tool. That's the wrap up from the Q&A.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hannah. This is very, very helpful, and obviously, you know, we are really excited that people like the wizard tool, and we think about this webinar to be a conversation starter. And there are multiple different channels in which you can sort of get in touch and share your experience with Langsbox and with your own research as well, because we are really curious to hear from you. Most of the links are available from the Langsbox website, and we will also try to help you if we can. Obviously, we are working on implementing other language options, other language features, and we also invite people, because Langsbox is a very versatile tool, and there are pluggable modules for different languages. So if you develop, for instance, part of speech tagger for your own particular language, that can be very easily implemented in Langsbox. And if you wish to share that with the whole research community, we can make that possible as well, because Langsbox, for instance, and you mentioned the part of speech tagging, uses the tree tagger as a sort of a tool that can be trained to deal with any language you like. Obviously, we don't have the expertise in different languages. We have expertise in different languages, but not in every language. So if you want to share your expertise with us, we'll be very, very happy. And just do get in touch and let us know. There are multiple channels available from the website where you can actually get in touch, let us know. And there's also materials available for you, video tutorials if you want to go over some of these features, and the webinar will be also available from the Langsbox website so that you can review the videos if you like. So hopefully this was a useful morning or evening or afternoon, depending on your time zone, that you spent with us. We are really, really excited that you were able to join us today for this session of Langsbox, full of corpus linguistics, searches and questions, and hopefully some useful answers for you as well. So I think we are doing really well for time. I promised 90 minutes and it's been 90 minutes now. So all I can say is from myself and from the wonderful team at Lancaster, thank you so much for joining us. Let's keep the conversation going. Here's the website. Do go and check out the materials, and thank you very much for spending your time with us. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.